What other form of work, if we want to call prostitution work, big question mark, involves anything comparable to the intimate invasion involved in prostitution?
I want folks to understand that there are no other industries that invade the body as such or target bodies, a marginalized and oppressed gender. There's no other exploitative industry that has the same amount or levels of bodily invasion. Right? I mentioned briefly PTSD. The psychological effects are uncomparable to anything else. But what we also find are high rates of things like vaginal prolapse, rectal prolapse, right? Fisting has gone inside the women's bodies, right, and messed up a lot of organs. There are people that have the inability to conceive.
I actually disagree. Yeah, I mean, look,
course I do.
I'm a soldier's daughter, right? And my father was sent to multiple combat tours, and I was raised in a military culture where, you know, people that signed up to be a part of the military were sent literally to their deaths, exposed to horrific chemicals. I mean, my father died a few years ago from exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. I have other friends of mine who have sold their eggs or their plasma or other things to make ends meet. I think that there are examples of horrific bodily harm that happen in all kinds of industries. But I think that this aversion that we have to all things sexual has really colored our perspective and our ability to see that.
Melanie has a sad story. Melanie was a foster kid and was lured or coerced by a pimp and sold in a violent and horrific and deeply exploitative way. And she has taken that experience and universalized it to the entire sex industry. What happened to her was wrong, and it shouldn't happen to anyone. But we're not going to get to a future where fewer kids are raped or fewer people are violently exploited for money by trying to eradicate the oldest profession. I've had the opportunity to debate Melanie a couple of times. I think that she is a smart, well-meaning person who has dedicated her life to the noble goal of making sure that what happened to her doesn't happen to anyone else. But like a lot of well-meaning feminists, she's wrong about what the solution to this problem is. Everyone that paid to violate Melanie, especially when she was a child, should absolutely be incarcerated. But we aren't going to get to a more just future by trying to eradicate prostitution as a symbol of violence against women. We can work together to raise workers' rights, to increase women's rights, to reduce gender-based violence, and to reduce exploitation across labor sectors. But what happened to Melanie isn't what prostitution looks like for everyone. I've been doing this work for years. I don't know anyone who offers fisting. I don't know a single person who suffered from vaginal or renal prolapse. Those things sound horrific. I know a lot of people who've broken their backs, right, trying to repair elevator shafts. I know a lot of people who have lost fingers working in slaughterhouses. I know a lot of people, too many people, who have either died in war or died from the injuries or exposure to chemicals that they did. We have a ton of examples of people doing dangerous, horrific work that hurts them body, mind, and soul. That is not unique to prostitution. But what happens is that when we focus on prostitution as a symbol of violence against women, we actually make it harder for all women to make money, to rent solo apartments, and to move independently in this world.